We are wrapping up the second week of the Brendan-Banfield murder trial out of Fairfax County. Let's give you a live look inside the courtroom right now, where proceedings are still underway. We are waiting to see if Brendan himself will take the stand. Again, a live look inside the courtroom as both sides try to squeeze in as much as they can before this weekend's winter storm. Joining us now, Katie Lusso, who has been watching every moment of this trial unfold. And let's talk about Brendan Banfield, because this is a rare moment to even have our cameras inside, but even more rare, especially in a homicide case, a case this complex and layered, is to have the defendant take the stand. We heard rumblings of this. What's the latest?
Yeah, so we know that John Carroll said this morning before the jury was brought into the room, so I think that's an important detail there. He told the judge and the prosecution that Brendan Banfield intended to testify and take the stand and give his own testimony. We have not seen that happen. Now, John Carroll last night, he also said that he had 2 more witnesses to call, and I can tell you his second witness is on the stand right now. If we could take you back into the courtroom, would love to see if that, yeah, there he is. So this is a witness who called in remotely, and his name is Nick Barrera. He's an audio video forensics analyst, and you know, they weren't done with Harry, the gentleman that had been on the stand all day, that forensics expert. The judge said, how much longer is this going to continue on? You know, she didn't say it like that, but it sounded like that the way she said it. And she said she wanted him to call this next witness because this next witness is working remotely and is worried about the storm, just like so many other people are, is worried about the storm and the possibility of losing power because of the ice. So they kind of skipped him up to the front of the line. They pushed him in. They're going to go back to Harry, the forensics expert, but for now they're listening to him and they're talking about some of the audio elements. Haven't been able to get a clear idea of what those audio elements are because the prosecution just continues to object.
Let's go back to the forensics expert. And when we say that, we're really looking at digital evidence here. A lot of hours spent on the digital evidence found behind the devices that belong to Christine. What did we learn today about that?
Well, we learned a lot, right? But it was a lot of the same thing we had already heard. And I think what's interesting is that, you know, they're looking at the forensics of all this, and the defense is really trying to pin this concept that Christine never lost control of her phones, her laptops, that she was the one sending these messages, and then showing some evidence that shows she was texting other people who she would normally be texting around the same time as these other messages were popping in. So just a lot unfolding there, but the prosecution, again, going back to that same statement over and over, that forensics don't put the device in a person's hands. It's just a device that belongs to someone, and it doesn't necessarily mean that that person had the phone at the time.
Okay, so the defense really working hard to try to raise doubt about the communication and who was behind that communication online. That goes with the prosecutor's theory, right? Okay, very interesting day today as we are hearing reports that Brendan might take the stand. We'll have to wait and see, because court wraps up today at 5 or 5:30.
Around 5, and you know, if he doesn't take the stand today, the question is, will he take it next week before closing arguments?
Okay, Katie Lusso, thank you. Well, for more than a week now, or 2 weeks, we've been taking you inside the courtroom with live coverage of every minute of this trial. And there are several ways to stay connected and up to date on this case. You can watch all of our coverage streaming right now on WUSA 9 Plus, and also our YouTube channel, WUSA 9. A lot of you have been joining us there as well and really engaging with questions. We're also going to have a 6:30 special today for a special recap of our trial coverage this week. We're sort of at this midway point because we were expecting this to go on for 4 weeks. We're on week 2nd, wrapping up week 2nd. So join us at 6:30 on WUSA 9 Plus.